For the single leg raise, we want to make sure that our back is flat. We are bracing our core when we're doing this. We're keeping our back connected with the floor no matter what. That's our main focus. We don't want to try to touch the ground with our foot if we can't keep our back connected. So from here, I'm going to raise my leg up. I want to keep my foot flexed, my knee locked out, going up to just above the hip, no further than that. And if it makes your knee bend because your hamstrings are tight, then you can reduce the range of motion slightly. Next is the alternating dead bug, which is a little bit harder. We're going in order of most challenging, or starting with the least challenging, working our way up. So we got both feet off the ground, right leg, right arm go apart, and then left leg, left arm go apart. Again, the main focus is making sure that your back stays flat and connected with the ground. So make sure we can keep that firm connection no matter how far the range of motion of our limbs go. Next are push-outs, so a little harder because the weight is a little bit more. We're going to be pushing both legs out. Sometimes this exercise can be helpful to have our hands gripping onto a couch or table, something that can anchor us in. You can also support your head with your hands if your neck gets tired, though it is beneficial to train the neck muscle. So relatively simple, just like the other exercises, making sure our back stays flat. We just have more resistance to work with. Putting your hands underneath the glutes isn't cheating, but just helps assist keeping the back flat a little bit while still feeling the core. Next are alternating leg raises or leg flutters. So you're going to be keeping your knees locked out, feet flexed. When the knee comes up and the leg comes up, just get it stacked over the hip, no further than that. Start slow and work on range of motion, seeing if we can tap the ground without the back coming off. Then you can try to get faster with it, still always making sure that we keep our back connected with the floor, meaning that we're keeping our core braced. Next is sit-up. So you'll notice that right there is a crunch, and we want to avoid that motion, how I roll my back forward. We're avoiding that sensation. So this is working on hip flexion. So I'm going to pull in like I'm doing a type of row to get my back tight, and then from there keeping a straight body, feeling like I'm pulling my knee to my chest. I have my foot anchored into a barbell, by the way, if you can't see that. So you want to make sure that your feet are anchored in either from a partner or a table or a couch. And then these things that I'm doing here, I'm just bringing my arms behind me, which is making it more relatively heavy. So if you're looking to increase the challenge and resistance, you can go arms behind the head on the way up or on the way down. So these are all progressively getting harder. Now these are leg raises, keeping my feet flexed, making sure that my back doesn't lift like it did right there. I want to keep that firm connection with my back and the ground. Go slow on the way down, and then if you want, you can go a little faster on the way up. Just make sure you don't bring the knees too far back. We just want them stacked over the hip or slightly in front / below the hip. All of those ones didn't require any equipment other than a spot to anchor your foot or your hand. This one you require a bar, so you go to a park or use a hanging bar at home or a ledge. So we're doing hanging leg raises. Now if you don't have anything for your back to go up against, then you might swing a little bit and you might just want to pause in between the reps to prevent that. But very effective exercise for the psoas and grip. The next is a harder variation, leg raise isos. Now you want to make sure that you're not crunching and rounding. You're just working on hip flexion, so getting the knee as close to lined up with the hip and the heels. Holding for 10 to 30 seconds or more, or a casual 5 to 10 breaths. You will need a resistance band for this. Make sure that the core is braced right there, glutes are squeezed, just like when I'm doing all the core exercises in the beginning. Now I want to lift the knees up with about a 90-degree shin angle in the femur. I'm driving my arms back hard because the lat is helping the contralateral glute drive into the ground harder. So we want to focus on a back motion with the sprint. For this one, it doesn't have to be a heavy band. I suggest a light band. We do get a little added resistance on the hip flexors, but I also like that it helps kind of slingshot the foot back into the ground to really hammer elasticity work for the ankle, and then I get to work on arm mechanics as well with it. And then this is a basic one that can be done at the beginning of a workout or the end of a workout, but my hands are on my hips right at the pelvis, and I'm actually resting the palms in the gluteus medius. This is to make sure that I don't round at the pelvis and create an excessive anterior or posterior pelvic tilt, meaning I don't want them to stick forward too much or backwards too much. So I got my abs engaged, getting that knee lift, which can be hard once you get to about hip height without trying to round. And then here are just some additives with it.